Hey everyone, I want to do a very quick channel update just to let you know on what to expect out of me over the next month or so, as I think we have some pretty interesting content coming up. First off, I am pretty much done with my attribute stacker. Now, there are several hundred div worth of upgrades I can make left, and sure, I could farm a little bit more Sanctum and purchase them in a few days, but it doesn't really change anything for me given I can pretty much do all content in 2.5 seconds. And at this point, I've been playing the build for 2-3 weeks, and I think it's time for me to move on to something else. Now, my plan is to play Path of Exile 2 until 3.26 starts in Path of Exile 1. My plan for probably this whole year is to just keep swapping between PoE 1 and PoE 2 as new seasons come out and as new content comes out. And realistically, at this point, given I've done pretty much everything that there is to do in PoE 2, we're kind of just in a waiting room waiting for Path of Exile 1 to start. I'm really excited for it because I am going to play Poisonous Concoction as my starter in 3.26, assuming it doesn't get nerfed. And realistically, it's pretty much one of the most new player friendly builds. So if you got into PoE because of PoE 2 and would like to try out PoE 1, I do recommend for you to come along and play with me then, because it will genuinely be the easiest possible time you'll ever have in Path of Exile 1. So with that said, until then, what are we going to be doing? Now, I'm going to have a mini rant coming out tomorrow on some of the scaling issues currently present in PoE 2 and how they frustrated me, but I couldn't really find a build that was interesting to me that I wanted to take on as an adventure. And I kind of spent the past 2-3 days or so with Path of Building being out, just kind of aimlessly looking at it, trying to find something half interesting. Now, I know pretty much nothing is going to be able to match an attribute stacker, as it's just tanky, the fastest build in the game, and does a ludicrous amount of damage and has a ludicrous amount of clear. But I wasn't necessarily looking for that in a build. I was just simply looking for something fun. Couldn't really find it, and I couldn't really find something that felt comfortable to play. So I kind of gave up on the whole idea and went back to the drawing board. What we are instead going to be doing for at least the next week or two, which should be really fun, is we are going to go back to what I started playing at the start of PoE 2, and we are going to go make Archmage Spark Stormweaver work. Now, what I want to do for this, because plenty of people have played it, and I'm obviously still going to make a build guide on it, so if you'd like an Allie guide on Archmage Spark, well, there you go. But my plan is going to be to do 0 to hero, which is something I've done in the past, and has been something people have really enjoyed watching from me, and I've really enjoyed following along on Archmage Spark. But I specifically want to do it in Sanctum only, or Trial of the Sekhemas, but I prefer to call it Sanctum. I am actually really excited for this series where we're going to literally start a new character with absolutely nothing. I'm not going to allow myself to utilize any of the things I've already gotten or farmed. We're basically going to be starting as if we just started playing PoE 2, with the goal of us getting through a campaign and then eventually moving on and doing pretty much nothing but Trial of the Sekhema all the way until, I don't know, some points, maybe to a point where we afford a Temporalis or to Dream Fragments or whatever other kind of endgame gear we'd like on a Spark build. It should be really fun to do, as I have done nothing but Trial of the Sekhemas for the past 2 weeks, and I consider myself an expert on the topic now, and it should be a pretty fun challenge to gear up a character instead of simply just doing maps or any of the other normal things that people might do. The way I typically do these 0 to hero challenges is I try to be as new player friendly as possible. I try to explain everything I'm going to be doing, and we do daily updates on pretty much every major thing that happens, just so people can follow along if you too want to complete the challenge with me, as it is a pretty fun time to do, and well, it's a really good way of exploring a new build. At the same time, I do plan to do a full build guide on Archmage Spark. I know it's been done many times and it's not going to be anything new, but if you like the way I explain things, or if you like the way my guides are structured, there will be an Allie guide on Archmage Spark as well. Might be a little bit slower due to us 0 to heroing, so the first few days might be a little bit slow, so we might be stuck in the early game of it for quite a while, so we won't be able to get to the mid and end game versions of it for maybe a little bit. But I don't know, I think it'll be a great time, and Sanctum's really fun just because there's quite a lot to do in there, and there's a few different strategies that we can employ. And I have a new little bit of tech that I'm dying to try out on a non-attribute stacker in Sanctum that, in my opinion, might completely blow open the whole meta around it. A really fun try, and if you do want to play along with me and try out the challenge yourself, typically when I do this challenge, quite a lot of people do end up just following along with me and playing along, and everyone seems to have a pretty good time. And as we progress through it, I do also want to release a Sanctum guide, as well as quite a lot of content specifically based around Sanctum, as I feel like it's one of the best pieces of content in the game right now, and it's genuinely one of the best moneymakers you can possibly do. It should be a pretty fun time, and obviously all this will be streamed live on Twitch. I'm not going to be touching the character or anything about this challenge outside of my stream, so every little second of it will be streamed on Twitch, so you'll have the VODs of every single little tiny thing we'll be doing is going to be on there, with the exception of me obviously AFKing on the build outside of the stream and potentially just selling things as I'm sitting there eating or editing a video or whatever, but I will not be playing the build or killing any monsters or purchasing any upgrades without it specifically being on stream. I really hope you kiddies come and join me for this. I think it'll be really fun, and I feel like it'll be a good way to waste the next week or two until we wait for 3.26. And honestly, I've had a pretty good time at PoE 2, and I think there is quite a lot of potential here, and I'm excited to see what the next economy reset, which is hopefully going to bring Druid and Huntress, is going to offer. And it should be really fun to play it once we get more skills and more senses to play with, as right now the game does feel a little bit restrictive when it comes to making interesting and unique builds. With that said, kitties, I hope you join me on Twitch tomorrow for some fun, as this should be quite an interesting and fun ride. And if not, well, I hope you enjoy all the update videos and all the content that's going to come out of this over the next week or two here on YouTube. That's it, kitties. I hope you enjoy the rest of the day, and I hope to see you all in the next video.